For more, let's bring in Simon Rosenberg, a former Clinton campaign advisor and president and founder of NDN. We also have Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Thanks so much for joining us. Simon, let me start with you. Not as contentious there as we've been used to lately. He talked a lot about the immigration overhaul, stressing again and again that they're prioritizing removing criminal illegal aliens who have committed crimes in addition to coming to this country illegally. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting as somebody who's worked on immigration policy for a long time is that starting in 2011, it was the policy of the federal government to remove criminals first. That's actually been DHS's policies for 6 years now.
But the complaint is they haven't actually done it. That is
but that's not true. I mean, I understand that's the complaint, but that's not true. I mean, where we stand now on immigration is that we have fewer undocumented immigrants in the country today than we did 10 years ago. The flow has actually stopped, right? And we also have seen no foreign fighter terrorist attacks on U.S. soil since 9/11, and I think that my argument to you is that
I have the stats right in front of me from the U.S. Customs Immigration Enforcement Agency, and they say that 0.07% of those with deportation orders are actually deported. Those are the government numbers, so that does not support what you're saying there.
No, that's what they've deported just in the last few weeks. The point is, Barack Obama deported over 3 million people in 8 years, more than any president in American history. This has been the most aggressive. We've already seen the most aggressive deportation and border enforcement regime that America's ever had.
Why does ICE say then that they only have 1% in custody?
That's only what they've put in. That's the only people they've arrested in the last few weeks under this very particular measure. But the notion that we haven't been deporting large numbers of people, or the fact that the flow hasn't stopped, is just false.
Okay.
It's just false.
So Matt, I guess what Simon is saying is that the accusations against President Trump that he's a racist and he's trying to get people out of this country, and he said, are wrong. I mean, he's saying that no, President Trump is basically just doing exactly what President Obama was doing.
Yeah, well, I obviously disagree with anybody who says that Donald Trump's immigration policy is racist. I think what Simon fails to bring up is, yes, George W. Bush started this aggressive effort at deporting people, and President Obama was at one point called the deporter-in-chief by liberals in his party. But the fact is this: a lot of people started to leave America not because Obama was tough on enforcement, because the economy was so bad they couldn't even find those low-level paying jobs in our economy. It was so weak. Matter of fact, we had net export immigration back to Mexico. Even illegal immigrants were voting against the Obama economy, and I think what President Trump has announced here totally and completely makes sense and needs to be done.
Simon, see, I struggle with this argument because on the left it seems like everybody wants to have it both ways. On one hand, they quote stats like you did, and they say, look, President Obama was right on top of it. He was sending people out of the country that deserved to go. But then on the other hand, they're up in arms and protesting and having rallies saying that President Trump wants to divide the country and build a wall and send mothers home and separate them from their kids. I mean, I'm confused. Which one is it?
No, that's a legitimate question, and I think there's disagreement in the Democratic Party about what was the right way to proceed. But where we are now, right, is we are pursuing a policy, the president's pursuing a policy very similar to what happened in Arizona a few years ago. We're super aggressive deportation efforts. It's going to put fear. All 11 million undocumented immigrants are now fair game, which was not true before a few months ago. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to start seeing like what happened in California yesterday, where a 7-year-old was on a soccer field and playing a soccer game and had her mother removed during the soccer game and had no family to go back to at the end of the soccer game. I don't think Americans want that kind of immigration enforcement in the coming months.
So, Matt, Sean Spicer just made the point that all people that are in any country illegally have always been subject to removal in any country, no matter where you're talking about. So this idea that suddenly the law has changed, Simon, is not true. And, you know, he's made the point that they are not calling balls and strikes saying who should go and who shouldn't, that you have to set a priority, and they're going to prioritize the most violent criminals first.
So Simon just said that President Obama deported 3 million people. Simon, I guess none of those people ever played soccer, or none of those people had children, or none of those people had their lives disrupted. The fact is this is a tough call for presidents, and the right thing to do is to follow our laws, and if we don't want to follow them, it's to change those laws. And the hypocrisy on the left, they vote for a wall or for a fence, and then they attack Donald Trump for being for it.
Gentlemen, thanks to both of you. We appreciate your opinions. We got to run.